very warm welcome to you all to the one-on-one set. As the seasons change, so does our body's nutritional needs. So tonight, we are diving into the world of nutrition, exploring how our diet impacts everything from our energy levels, immune system, to our overall well-being. And to talk about this topic, we have with us in the studio Vandana Gujadhur, a registered dietitian. Vandana, thank you so much for joining us in the studio of the NBC.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, Koyal.
So Vandana, tonight we'll be talking about the transition between summer and winter and how our diet is important during this transition. So how does our body's nutritional needs change with the shift of winter and summer, and what specific nutrients become more important during this transition?
Absolutely. When there is a change in the weather, we are also changing the way we are clothing ourselves. Our shorts are out now that the winter is transitioning into spring and then summer. So it's not much about changing what's on your plate, but more about how your environment changes and how your body adapts to your environment.
Exactly.
Right? So, for example, we are spending more time outdoors, and hence we are making more vitamin D because we are spending more time in the sun. And in the winter, we are spending more time indoors, hence we are not making as much vitamin D. So it really depends on how the weather is changing and how you're adapting to it. So I would say mostly it's not what's on your plate, but it's more about how you can bring variety with this season change in terms of what's available and what you will put on your plate.
Definitely. And also, can you explain to us the concept of seasonal cleanse from a scientific perspective? How does it impact our metabolism and overall health?
Yes, so when there's a season change, it does make you do like a diet reset. You want to change your eating habits. You want to eat more fresh foods. And when you are wanting to do a cleanse, I have to be very honest with you, Koyal, that there is not much scientific evidence out there that supports cleanse.
Yeah.
So what happens when you do a cleanse is that you are restricting yourself from certain elements in your diet. And there are different types of cleanses, whether you're just having liquids or just certain foods. But what we know is when you're doing a cleanse, it's likely a short-term solution.
Okay.
But what we are looking for is a long-term sustainability.
Yeah.
So our body is a very well-developed system. It has its own built-in way of detoxifying you, of removing toxins. So it really doesn't need any additional help to remove waste. So when you're trying to do a cleanse, you want to think about what are you wanting to achieve from that cleanse. Unless if you have a serious medical condition where your body is not able to remove its waste and toxins, then you might need some additional help under medical guidance. But otherwise, if you are going to be doing certain types of cleanses where you are restricting yourself from certain foods, then it can put somebody at risk of nutrient deficiencies. So it's very important to do it with support of a healthcare practitioner. I would not say that I'm not in support of cleanse. At this point, because I practice evidence-based nutrition, at this point there's not much of scientific evidence to support it, so I wouldn't recommend anybody to do it. But what I would recommend is, yes, okay, the season is changing, you want to change your diet, then this could be a good opportunity to maybe clean up your diet from processed foods, or if you're having a lot of alcohol, maybe we can start limiting your intake of alcohol. If you're not eating much of plant foods, maybe we can start adding more fruits and vegetables, which is pretty much what a cleanse is.
Exactly, be more healthy about the choice of the food that we are eating, right?
Exactly. And then these steps will lead you to a more sustainable lifestyle change, which you can stick to long-term versus just a short-term solution. It's very important to support our immune system when there's a season change, whether it's from hot to cold and now from winter to summer. your body is adapting to its environment, and hence there are different types of pathogens around. So we have to reinforce our immunity, and how we can do that through food. We can do that through food. So eating more vitamin C rich foods, they tend to help you with increased production of white blood cells, and you can find them in citrus fruits, in bell peppers, and broccoli. But also there's another nutrient, zinc, which helps in the production of immune cells. And you can get that in nuts and seeds and legumes like lentils and beans. Also probiotics, they are fermented foods, and they help to have a good balance of the good bacteria in your gut. And the other elements of food that we can still have to help reinforcing our immune system, this is just to name a few of them.
And when we talk about summer, it's also important to talk about hydration and dehydration. So what are the psychological effects of dehydration, and how can we use nutrition to effectively prevent it during hotter months like November and December?
Yeah, so when it's really hot, for everybody, dehydration is different. For example, for people who are older, they tend to feel less thirsty. And what we find is that dehydration is quite common in that population, and there's increased heartbeat, low blood pressure. But for the average people, we find dehydration means if there's headache, fatigue, there's a change in your mood, you're not able to concentrate, and recognizing that these are signs of dehydration. And very important to ensure that we have water in excess. So that's the best ways to hydrate is through water. But if we're not drinking enough fluids through water, then we can eat our water.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can eat it through foods that are high in water content, for example, cucumbers, tomatoes, grapes, citrus fruits, and even green leafy vegetables. So that way you can still get that hydration from them. Let me tell you, that water is important, is essential, because it helps to lubricate our joints. It helps in nutrient absorption. It helps our body regulate its body temperature. It helps in removing waste, many functions of fluids. So it's very important to find ways to hydrate ourselves, especially in the summer and the hot days, because we're sweating more. So it's very important that way to replenish that water.
Definitely, Vandana. Can you also tell us how does consuming seasonal products support our body natural rhythm, and what are the key benefits, of eating fruits and vegetables that are in season?
Let me tell you, Koyal, if you eat something that's fresh and local, wouldn't it taste more delicious than something that has been transported from very far away, right?
Yeah.
So we find that any food, any produce that's local and fresh, it's more tasty. It just tastes more delicious. And as a matter of fact, the nutrient value is even more. It has higher vitamins and mineral content. But if that produce has had to travel very far, so from the time it was harvested till the time it gets to the grocery store, and until the time it gets to your plate, till the time you consume it, look at how many days it has continued ripening. And what happens is that it doesn't taste as much, as good as it should, but also the nutrient value keeps decreasing day by day.
It's right, the nutrient value.
Yes, so if you're having something that's local and fresh and in season, you know that it wasn't picked months ago.
Yeah.
It was likely picked just a few days ago. And we find, with produce that we get from far away, they tend to treat them with like some post-harvest treatments, for example. They put ripening agents or edible coating just for them to retain their quality, because otherwise nobody will buy them. If a fruit or vegetable has been somewhat, the texture has changed or the color has changed during that storage period, then you will not want to buy them. So they have to somewhat treat the food before you eat it. Exactly. So really better to eat in season and local, nutrient value is more, but also it tastes better and makes it more enjoyable.
It's fresh, and so definitely it's better. Yeah.
Exactly.
Vandana, so what role do macronutrients play in sustaining our energy levels as the days get longer and we become more active?
So the macronutrients are the carbohydrates, protein,
Yeah.
and fats. They are the primary building block of a diet. If you don't have those macros as part of your meal, it's not a balanced meal. So they're very important. They give you the energy you need, but also we need those brothers and sisters, the vitamins and minerals.
Yeah.
In small dosages, but they're very important. So having a meal that has the macros and the micronutrients, they help to sustain your energy longer. If you were to miss any one of them, you will not be performing at your best in your day.
So true, that's indeed. Can you also tell us what is the connection between diet and our immune system during seasonal changes, and how can we tailor our nutrition to strengthen, our immune system?
Yes, so with the immune system, again, as I mentioned, it lies, in fact, in our gut, most of our immune system. So very important to eat right and include a variety of different foods. I wouldn't say that you just need to eat your zinc-rich foods or your vitamin C-rich foods. Not just that, but having well-balanced meals where you're also getting the macros that we talked about, because you do need the protein to help you make cells in your body. You do need the fluid, the water, to help you absorb nutrients properly. So again, I would say having well-balanced meals are very important to help reinforce your immune system.
So do you believe also in the concept of mindful eating?
Yes, I definitely believe in that. And
can you tell us a bit about it so that our audience will also know about, what is exactly mindful eating practices?
Okay, so mindful eating, before I get to that, I want to say food is not just about what we eat, it's also about how we eat.
Okay.
Okay, so this is pretty much the concept behind mindful eating. So it believes a lot in that cephalic phase of digestion, which is at the sight of food, at the smell of food, you already start your digestive process. For example, your stomach is already releasing acid. Your digestive juices are being released to digest the food that's about to come. In the past, we used to spend a lot of time in gathering food, in preparing food, and that's already started the digestion process through that cephalic phase. And so mindful eating is pretty much prioritizing that cephalic phase of digestion, which starts at the sight and smell of food. You're very present with the food you're eating, and you chew the food really well. And then what happens is that you digest the food better, you absorb the nutrients better. And what we find with this form of mindful eating, being so present with your meal, is that you suffer less from digestive upsets like reflux or bloating or constipation, which is quite common. And that's because we're eating food on the go, right? When last did we, eat our meal with all our 5 senses? Like we look at the food, we smell it, we touch it. No, what we do is, okay, I have a lunch break, let me just gulp my food down, and on my phone,
watching TV, it's like that.
Right? So what are we doing? We're not eating mindfully. And when we are not eating mindfully, so mindful eating is, in fact, when you are in that cephalic phase where I told you, you see the food, you produce those digestive juices to help digest the food, but also if you're not salivating, then you should not really eat because your body is not ready to accept the food. But we skip so many steps and we eat the food quickly, and we expect that food to turn into fuel and give us energy.
It's difficult,
but it has missed so many steps. So how can we expect to utilize the food we've eaten properly to give us the energy we need. So this is why many times, although we've eaten a meal, but we don't feel that we have the energy we need to keep functioning,
Yes, true.
right?
Yeah.
It's because we have skipped a few steps. So mindful eating shows that awareness to be present with food and really chewing food really well, starting that mechanical breakdown, which most of us are not doing. We just eat the food quickly and swallow it. So taking
The
time to
chewing
chew.
time is also important.
Yes, you know, when we chew food, in fact, there's a happy hormone called serotonin, which is released, that goes to our brain and tells us to be calm and happy. So this is why eating is an experience that should make us feel happy and calm. And studies have shown that those who eat very quickly or have distracted eating, for example, using a screen while eating, tend to be more overweight, tend to gain weight more easily versus those who eat mindfully, because you do recognize those cues, those natural cues from your body of fullness. So then you stop when you're full. But
It's like
when
a change, you know.
it's a change.
It's a chain indeed. But now when we talk about summer, we should also not forget the seasonal treats. So how can people achieve a balance between enjoying the seasonal treats and maintaining healthy eating habits, especially, you know, in the context of weight management?
Absolutely. In the context of weight management, in the context of being healthy, uh, I would say to anybody, to you or to anyone, and I practice it myself, we should not be too much extreme of trying to be healthy all the time. It's okay to be a little bit flexible. It's okay. It's part of a healthy eating plan. So I like to go for like an 80-20% rule, where 80% of the time, yes, it's good to be serious and eat well and nutrient-dense foods. But the other 20% of the time, it's okay to be a little bit more flexible on the choices we're making in terms of less nutrient-dense and enjoy those treats. Because otherwise, life is not worth living if you cannot
You know,
enjoy foods you like.
exactly. You should enjoy what you are eating as well. That's also
Exactly.
important.
Finding pleasure in what you eat. I will never do that to anybody and tell anybody no treats, never, because I would
You
not
can't be
do that
strict on
myself.
yourself.
Yes. The moment we are strict on ourselves and we tell ourselves, no, we cannot have this treat, no, we should not eat this, that's when we crave it more.
Depriving yourself from those pleasures.
Exactly. We should not do that.
Yes. Vandana, you're also a mom, like you told us earlier this year now on our first episode. So what are some of the strategies for ensuring children receive the necessary nutrients during the summer month, and how can these strategies be implemented effectively?
Absolutely. Summer means being more active, being more outdoors, especially with kids. They just love to be outside. But also recognizing that kids' stomach is very small. So we cannot expect them to eat a lot in a short time. So multiple meals are important. So like the 3 meals, but also a few snacks in between to help give them the energy to go and play outside. Hydration is very important, especially when it's hot. So making sure there's a water bottle that we give them, or making sure that they can see where to go to drink water if they need to. Because oftentimes kids will not do that if they're not told. So keeping water in access of them and ensuring that they are eating frequently throughout the day, not giving too long gaps between meals. Otherwise, kids do get irritable, especially when they're playing. They're expending a lot of energy.
We are actually drawing towards the end of this episode, but before that, Vandana, any last advice you would like to give to our audience who are watching us right now about how to stay healthy and adopt healthy nutritional habits during this transition of winter to summer?
Yes, I would say water, or if not water, then foods that are high in water content is very important to keep around. And also adopting a lifestyle where we are eating a variety of different foods, not depriving ourselves of any elements that we enjoy, but everything in balance and moderation. And to think about, as the season change, we are also changing our wardrobe. It's a good idea to also give a change to our diet of what is in season. So when we eat what is in season, then we are also having that variety in eating, and it keeps things interesting and nutritious.
Thank you so much, Vandana, for this insightful conversation. It was a delight to have you again on the show, and we had a lovely conversation. I'm sure our audience also will know better about the nutritional habits to adopt during this transition.
Thank you so much, Koyal.
Dear viewers, we have now come to the end of this episode. Thank you for your time. We hope to catch you next week at the same time, same channel. Have a great evening.